At an enterprise level, nothing is more important than communication. Grammarly for Enterprise enables your company to work smarter and faster. Other AI tools can't quantify business impact, but Grammarly gives you actionable insights and measurable results with features like their effective communication score, which tracks key metrics so you can make data-driven decisions to improve outcomes. Visit Grammarly.com/enterprise. That's Grammarly.com/enterprise.
Hey, it's Kim Commando Today, your daily podcast to keep you up to date with all things digital and beyond. And I'd love to have you be a part of our podcast. You can make an appointment to speak with me. Just head over to commando.com, and on the top right, there's a button that says Email Kim. Fill that out, and that's it.
Now, if you've ever lived where a wildfire is happening, you know how hard it is to get good information quickly. That's because fires do move quickly. I've talked about the Watch Duty app before. It's a great app. It maps wildfires burning across 13 U.S. states, and it actually sends you alerts of nearby wildfires and then the firefighting efforts in real time. It's powered by over 100 volunteers. I'm talking about firefighters, dispatchers, first responders, who monitor radio scanners and other official sources 24 hours a day. You can get it on your phone as an app, or you can just check it out on the website. When I read about the app, I thought, oh my gosh, it'd be so great to talk to somebody from Watch Duty. And joining us today is John Mills. He's the CEO, because when we want to talk to somebody, we go straight to the top.
Thanks for having me.
So, John, how did this all come about?
Well, like many wildland residents, there's very little information out around these fires, especially during what's called initial attack. So the first incidents that show up, the first hours especially, are the most dangerous. And there's very little information coming out, mostly because the firefighters are busy fighting the fire, not stood up their information office operation yet. So I've been through a couple of these now, and after the second one, I decided enough's enough. And if I was going to stay living here off the grid, that I was going to go fix this issue myself.
And so where exactly do you live?
I am outside of Healdsburg, California, in Sonoma County in the Oakland Forest.
Wow. Are you able to get fire insurance?
Great question. I used to have fire insurance, and I have been subsequently dropped, and I am on the California Fair Plan.
It started when, in 2021?
That's correct.
Did it grow by mouth? Did you jump on social media?
Yeah, I mean, the way that this worked is so during the first big fire I went through was the 50,000 acre Wallbridge fire here in Sonoma County during the lightning complex that happened. And I was listening to radios myself, the radio scanners, and I was also on Facebook and Twitter and listening to the individuals who were spending their days and nights actually reporting on these fires. And so Watch Duty I'm just the architect of this idea of putting all these people together who are already doing this work. And so those folks already had huge followings, 20, 30, 40,000 followers. They'd already been doing this all across the West Coast because they knew the problem existed. And so it actually wasn't that hard to build the software or the company. It was a matter of convincing all the humans that we're going to do the right thing. We're building a nonprofit, trying to help our communities here. And so that was actually easy. Word of mouth made it spread because these folks already had the trust of their community.
When you're operating at an enterprise level, nothing drives success more than effective team communication. Grammarly for Enterprise enables your company to work smarter and faster. Other AI tools can't quantify impact. With Grammarly, you get measurable results and actionable insights, like tracking key metrics that include brand compliance and readability from their effective communication score. Because when you're able to visualize your team's impact and compare performance against industry benchmarks, you can make data-driven decisions that improve critical business outcomes. So whether you need to streamline messaging between technical and marketing initiatives or cut down on emails between external collaborators, you can trust Grammarly to help employees communicate effectively across the board. Start boosting productivity company-wide with Grammarly. Visit Grammarly.com/enterprise to learn more. That's Grammarly.com/enterprise.
Which, makes perfect sense. And so during those initial days, how did you communicate? Did you put together a a special like Facebook group, or was there a special account where everybody would feed the information? Or did you start with an app overnight, which I find that would be really difficult to do?
We started overnight. We use Slack internally,
Okay,
right,
good.
for our chat system, so that our different regional reporters, some people cover all the West, some people cover certain states. In those different regional channels, we're discussing what we're hearing, right? Someone says, "Oh, I heard 50. Oh, I heard 15. Let's do a replay. No one published anything yet. Let's figure out what this is." So we collaborate in real time. The software honestly was very easy to build. It's gotten much bigger, but the first version we built in 80 days from end to end. And so we knew what we were doing, how we were doing it. This is not my first rodeo, it's my third or fourth. And so you get good at this stuff after a while.
Yeah, for sure. Boy, 80 days, that's impressive. It really is, John.
I mean, thank you. I mean, I'll take the compliment, but it is really lightweight. And the reason I say this is because I want to inspire other people to use technology for good. Like, it is a pretty simple application that has a news feed and a map. This is not all that challenging to do. What's challenging is the business model, launching the application, finding the right people, go to market. Those are the hard parts that everyone forgets, right? Everyone thinks, oh man, engineering, if I could just build an app, everyone's going to start using this thing.
Sure.
And that's just not how this works. If you build it, they won't come, right? I've tried.
You know, I use that quote too when people call the show, John, and they'll say like, "I got this great idea for an app," and I know it's, and I'm like, yeah, but it's the other part, it's the back end, it's the maintenance, and every time, and there's an iOS update or a new version of Android, make sure that it doesn't break the app. I mean, and of course, there's the marketing, as you said, and getting word of mouth and getting it out there. So you have how many volunteers right now?
About 150 volunteers in total.
And
some of those are software people, some of those are radio reporters and scanners, so it's kind of a mix.
At an enterprise level, nothing is more important than communication. Grammarly for Enterprise enables your team to work smarter and faster. Other AI tools can't quantify business impact, but Grammarly gives you actionable insights and measurable results with features like their Effective Communication Score, which tracks key metrics so you can make data-driven decisions to improve outcomes. Visit Grammarly.com/enterprise. That's Grammarly.com/enterprise.
Well, walk me through the radio reporters and the scanners.
Yeah, this is where the magic really happens. And by magic, I mean just human intuition and intelligence, right? Like there's really no other way to do what we're doing. And we have tried, and we do use all the public data sources. Every single one of them are constantly being monitored and scanned and scraped and mined. The problem is that data has to be entered in by a human who's often not there yet or on the fire line or whatever it may be. And so the way that fires are fought is the way that we listen to fires, is through the radios. So we hear the dispatchers, we hear the incident commander on the ground, we hear air to air, air to ground, we hear them talking to each other. And this is how they fight fire. This is how they know what to do. There is no magic Starlink on every fire engine, or there's no little beacon where like every first responder is. We're using 1970s paramilitary Vietnam era technology to fight some of our world's most catastrophic fires. And so the people who live here in these wildland areas know this. And so they're used to the radios. And so we pull it off the radio. We're in real time. People are talking and collaborating about it. And then we publish the information as we're essentially editing in real time on the fly to get it out to citizens and first responders alike.
And so do you find first responders helping you as well?
Absolutely. I mean, I meet, tanker pilots who thank me for my service. I meet dozer operators, emergency managers, policemen. Everybody ends up using this thing because they're all trying to do the same thing. Like, what we're doing isn't actually really novel.
Right.
We're just the ones to take all that public information and give it back to everybody who's paid for it. It's our tax dollars. It's our information. It's public, clear on the radio that everybody can hear. I mean, it just seems like an obvious thing that every emergency management office is doing. We're all listening to the radios, everyone up and down the stack from, again, firefighter to an operations manager. And so this is how the work gets done. We just hear it real time as it's happening.
So do you have any stories that you can share that Watch Duty had a tremendous impact on saving lives?
I do. I could probably send you millions of articles and clips and whatnot, and I'll just tell you something that I find to be really, really moving for us. I mean, we get so many handwritten letters and checks, and it's really inspiring to see people rally around our little nonprofit because it helps them so much. Again, we get dozens. One of the ones that I really resonated with me was the Spokane fires up in Washington, and Washington is not as prepared as California is. It's usually wetter and has a better climate in terms of less fire, but it's been getting worse and worse. And so we were lucky enough to be ready for the Oregon Road and the Gray fires outside of Spokane that both happened at once. We had very little penetration in that market when that fire broke out. We had half the population on watch duty in the matter of a week. Because again, word of mouth, and
Wow.
we were getting letters from people who, my favorite one was, I had my horse trailer and my animals packed up. I was driving down the road, looking in my rearview mirror, watching my house burn, and my government alert finally went off to tell me to evacuate.
Oh, gosh.
This
Wow.
is the story everywhere.
Marketing is hard. But I'll tell you a little secret. It doesn't have to be. Let me point something out. You're listening to a podcast right now, and it's great. You love the host. You seek it out and download it. You listen to it while driving, working out, cooking, even going to the bathroom. Podcasts are a pretty close companion. And this is a podcast ad. Did I get your attention? You can reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a pre-produced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience in their favorite podcasts with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com, that's LIBSYN, ads.com today.
Why does it take so long for the government to send out these alerts? Why is that?
I mean, it's hard for me to really say. Some governments are faster than others. There's some counties that are really good. There's some that are getting better. There's been this history of slower moving fires and disasters. And so they have more time to like get their boots on and get their stuff together and get the whole report out. But now fires are going 30 to 50 miles an hour, through communities, right? We're getting 100,000 acre fires in 48 hours. I mean, this is like, you got to do this now. And so it's not, I don't blame them. It's just not how the FEMA, it's called ICS structure, like how we've been dealing with disasters. Like the disaster playbook hasn't been updated in 50 years. And it sure doesn't know much about the internet, right? And so it's just not in their DNA to do this. And it's our pleasure to help them do this. We're working with so many who are giving us information. We have more and more who are coming to our rescue, giving us intelligence, as well as starting to talk about posting on Watch Duty, just like they post on Facebook.
Okay, so now Watch Duty, you're in 13 states.
Correct.
And you're trying to obviously expand your reach into the East Coast. Is that correct?
We're going from coast to coast one day. It's just a matter of when, not if.
So if somebody wants to volunteer, do they just go to watchduty.com or watchduty.org? I'm sorry.
You got it. Watchduty.org/volunteer. Yes.
Any requirements to be a volunteer?
Yeah, I mean, there's different types of requirements. Let's say you want to write software or help us do writing. It's a much different set of requirements than if you're going to be doing radio reporting, right? Those are background checks. Usually have a career in fire dispatch, something of that. We don't just take random people off the street to start, sending messages to, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. So we do take a lot of different folks, but again, if you go to watchduty.org/volunteer, you'll see some of our open positions that we have.
And then you are a nonprofit, 501c?
You got it. 501c3 nonprofit. Yep.
Excellent. So watchduty.org to maybe make a donation as well.
Absolutely.
Well, you know what, John, you're doing great work. Super excited to have you with us. I've been a fan of the app since I read about it. Who actually told me about it is a former fire chief in Santa Barbara County. And his son is a hotshot firefighter. And, there's something about firefighters. I mean, they are just, unselfish people, that put their lives on the line, every time they appear for duty and just, get on the job. But again, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's our pleasure to do this work.
So that's watchduty.org, folks. If you want to check out or if you want to use WatchDuty, you can download it in the App Store or Google Play, or head to the website. Again, that's watchduty.org, watchduty.org.
If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late-night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, I'm Chris Gethard, and I'm very excited to tell you about Beautiful Anonymous, a podcast where I talk to random people on the phone. I tweet out a phone number, thousands of people try to call. We talk to one of them, they stay anonymous, I can't hang up. That's all the rules. I never know what's going to happen. We get serious ones. I've talked with meth dealers on their way to prison. I've talked to people who survived mass shootings. Crazy funny ones. I talked to a guy with a goose laugh, somebody who dresses up as a pirate on the weekends. I never know what's going to happen. It's a great show. Subscribe today, Beautiful Anonymous.